The message that I want to tell about it is that people who have loved ones who are experiencing substance abuse are not alone, that it can take a toll on people, and it's hard to really figure out your place with it. Do you help the person? Do you just wait for them to help themselves? Do you just watch them self-destruct? It's a lot of different elements to it. And so I hope that once again, it can give people a place where they can feel like I'm not alone in my feeling, my uncertain feelings about this. I honestly haven't really come forward publicly about my issues with dealing with a loved one with substance abuse. And so this exhibit was my first public opportunity to do that. And I didn't really go into the specifics, but for me, this is a start to be able to have those conversations and kind of talking about how it can affect families, especially in my case, having a young child and the father being absent because of dealing with the adverse effects of substance abuse and falling in and out of active addiction. It really hurts. It hurts all of us because that means that I'm solely liable for everything. And that's not something that I thought I was signing up for. I think that it's really important for the Gain Center to put this on for the public because there are a lot of misconceptions about people who have used substances before, who were in active addiction, who are now in recovery. And I was one of those persons that didn't really understand and kind of just discarded everybody until I started dealing with this myself, and I'm realizing that there is a real person on the other side of this, and it makes me, more empathetic towards people, and it's giving that compassion towards people. I think that's what this exhibit is doing, is seeing the inside of people's minds. It's seeing the families that are being impacted. It's showcasing just different perspectives of it from people who might be on the outside looking in or people inside that are trying to express out.
The person behind me is someone I know really well. We first met when I was maybe 20 years old, and I'm 37 now. So we were kind of grew up together in a sense and ran in the same circles and did a lot of the same things, listened to the same music. And then at a certain point, she moved to New York. And then, every now and again, she'd come back to visit Lexington, and we would all have a big celebration, and things were fun. And there was always a very party-friendly atmosphere, but nothing really felt dangerous about it. It felt fine. And then in 2019, she came to visit, and things did feel really dangerous. And I thought at the time, I need to take her picture. But I felt like if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna get to do it. When she showed up, she seemed totally fine, but then she told me she'd been drinking all day. And that was another kind of freaky thought because she didn't seem like she'd had a single drink. And she drank and smoked the whole time she was at my house and never appeared even the slightest bit intoxicated. One day she was just found unresponsive, and I had some friends go down and try to see her in the hospital, and on the way down they were like, we're gonna play her favorite music, she's gonna come out of this coma, it's gonna be great. And they got into the room and texted me, they were like, she's not gonna be great, we're not playing any music, they're taking her off life support, that's it. From my point of view, I'm not an activist. I'm a one foot in front of another type of guy. I'm painting the people that I'm closest to, and if I get the sense that I think someone's gonna die, I wanna do their portrait, because otherwise there's not that much to remember people by. You think you have everything locked down, but when someone's dead, you're like, man, I really wish I would have gotten one more picture. I really wish I would have taken one more video. So I try to do that in the form of a painting when I get that sense.
Thank you, everybody, very much for coming here. My name is Rich Shine. I'm the director of the Gain Center for the Humanities for 8 more weeks. Stand by, somebody will be announced to replace me soon. I was asked this afternoon if I would say a few words, and I did, simply out of a sense of duty and obligation, but I'm the last person you need to hear from tonight. I was trying to figure out what I would say, and I walked over here earlier and got a sneak preview when nobody was here. And first, let me say I had to leave the building 3 times. Just the move, everything here is just so moving. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe the pieces that are on the wall here. But I stole this and I walked back to my office and I read it. And as I was reading it, this program that you all got, I looked down on my desk and here was the announcement right next to it for asking for contributions for people to come be a part of this. And I looked at the dates and there's like 12 weeks between these dates. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that you guys have put this together in 12 weeks. It's absolutely incredible. It's made us suddenly be committed to the fact that we want to turn this into a gallery so we can see what we can do here. I'm astounded at the work that you guys have done, the art that you've put on the walls, the posters, everything. And it's just a testimony to the fact that like what we really do here at the Gain Center is we just give really smart people the chance to do really cool things and then we get out of the way. So I'm going to get out of the way for Anna and she'll talk about this.
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-chairs of this event. My name's Anna, and I'm still kind of in disbelief that this is not just a spreadsheet on my computer anymore, because that's kind of what it's been for the last several months. And this whole day, I've just been trying to conceptualize that this is all actually physical, this is real. It's all feeling very real all of a sudden. So excuse me as I read off my phone because. So what we really hoped to capture with this exhibit is the central goal of the humanities, which is kind of to navigate issues of the inherency of being human and how we can address those, especially with something so innately personal yet publicly taboo as drug and alcohol addiction. And we really wanted to also feature multiple disciplines together because we feel that multidisciplinary approaches can access more than one channel to reach people where they are, and they have the best ability to address complex issues because of the humanities being the most representative of their true nuance. And so we wanted this experience and all of these like personal stories and authentic experiences as articulated and reflected through everything you see here, and platform as diverse a spectrum of perspectives as possible. And the dialogue we hope to foster with you all here today is through the result of every piece here, is that we should talk about addiction, and not from a standpoint of judgment, but rather how these creative pursuits and this research and this hard work by real people that you see here, each inherently so intimate, how that can allow us to rewire our thinking around addiction after we leave here. And every piece here just uplifts something so personal and reflects the visceral empathy that went into this whole process of creating this. I specifically want to thank my fellow Gaines Fellows, my fellow Junior Gaines Fellows, who, especially those who have answered messages from me well outside of business hours, stepped up and took initiative to complete even the tiniest tasks without hesitation and put in extra work to do this crazy thing when it would have been easier to just say you've had homework. Would have been easier to not put in the extra work, because that's really what pushed it over the edge, especially since this is not a paid gig. But I wanted to thank the Women in Philanthropy, DV8 Catering, and of course Chelsea and Catherine for making this beautiful thing possible. And thank you, exhibitors, for your commitment, your authenticity, and your bravery. I deeply commend you because this is so vulnerable regardless of the medium you present through.
Especially with addiction, more than pretty much any other disease, it's so complex and so multifaceted that you have to take an intersectional approach. And that's what we want to do here. We want to be interdisciplinary, and we want to give a more holistic picture. One of the things that we especially wanted to do was to break down kind of the us versus them dichotomy. That was really the impetus for us calling this the monsters and myths of addiction, because obviously addiction is a monster, but this us versus them dichotomy, the way that we talk about it, a lot of times it's as if addiction is mythical. And fostering conversations where we're able to break down these barriers and we're able to really see people where they are, meet them where they are. And especially working with this group has really been such a privilege, because when we talk about starting these conversations, this group is so diverse. There's so many different colleges, there's so many different disciplines being represented here. And these are honestly some of the greatest minds that I've ever had the privilege to work with. And there's no one that I think could really spark and continue on these conversations than this group of people.
The creation process for our exhibit essentially just started with gathering submissions from the community. We truly wanted a diverse representation of everybody from Lexington, not only students from the University of Kentucky, but also community partners and essentially just any individual in Lexington who had any experience with substance abuse and who would like to be a part of our exhibition. The 12 of us, the fellows, we were meeting pretty regularly over the spans of several months, starting in September of 2023, and with the culmination of the process happening at the very early weeks of March 2024. We truly wanted to make sure that we created a great array and a good representation of multidisciplinary submissions and art pieces and work and research and essentially everything people from the community would like to share with us. One additional goal of our exhibit was to be a bridge between the community on campus and the greater Lexington community, and essentially just meeting community groups where we needed to and making sure that we were as accessible and respectful in our approach as possible.